The month of April officially means that the NFL draft is directly on the horizon, and right now going on no combine, but we do have the next step in the draft, which is the pro days. And more important this year, but I know, Skinny, you're not an overall fan.
I'm not a big combine guy. I've seen so many guys that have become combine cowboys that went up the board, and guys that suddenly had a bad combine went down the board, and you look up and 3 years later than the Pro Bowl. I think what you show on tape is the main thing. But I do think this year without a combine, you have to at least get some reaffirmation on guys.
We call it the Underwear Olympics for a reason. You can make a lot of money and you can lose a lot of money in these workouts. Let's start on a guy who I think made a lot of money, was probably going to make a lot of money, but especially when you sit out for the whole season, Ja'Marr Chase really opens some eyes.
I mean, some of these, the 4.38, the 41-inch vertical, which is just off the charts incredible. For a guy I'm talking about, that I don't need some reaffirmation. You needed this only because he had no tape from last year. But the tape from the year before, you look at all these things right in here. He is the guy for me. I mean, all this did was just go, that's the guy I remember seeing, and then some maybe.
Chase is such a popular name when you talk about the Bengals. Do you think that reuniting him with Joe Burrow, I know where there was the rumor that Burrow wanted him, is there smoke to that, or how do you think he fits in with the Bengals?
He's actually lobbied a little bit in some prior Zooms we've had with Joe about he'd love to play with him. Obviously he would. The guy's a burner. He's the downfield threat that they don't have in this offense. He can be the difference maker. Put him down the field with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins running underneath routes. Stop that offense. Go ahead and stop it.
So Ja'Marr Chase, open the eyes. He's a popular name right now. I'm going to give you another name of a wide receiver who's not going to work out, but if the Bengals traded down, could be a guy. Jalen Waddle had the ankle injury. What do you think of it?
Yeah, that's the interesting part. If they trade back and Chase is off the board and maybe Devontae Smith's off the board, absolutely I'd take a flyer on Jalen Waddle. The problem is he did not participate in Pro Day. He's still coming back from the injury. The player we saw before the injury was superb, arguably better than Devontae Smith. But then because of no Pro Day, it does give you a little pause. You don't get to know, did he lose a step? Does he get out of his breaks as well? But this guy still, I know a lot of draft pundits like him as much, if not more, than Ja'Marr Chase. I think as much as I don't like Pro Days, I think I would have liked to have seen something just to know, is he okay?
We're not going to get the reaffirmation, but Waddle had a pretty gruesome ankle injury and still came back and played in that national championship game. Wasn't the Waddle we were used to. Do you think that reaffirms, at least for some teams, like, okay, I know he's a little slower maybe, but we still want him?
And I think that was some rust, too. I mean, I think you have to chalk that up. I still think he's a superb player. I don't think he's the third wide receiver out of the three for me.
All right. Now, the offensive line is the other part of this that everyone's watching because it's either going to be a receiver or a lineman. I think at this point, we'd be surprised if it wasn't. And the top guy on that is the Oregon Duck, Penei Sewell.
Here, can I do this with the alligator? I mean, that's the silliest part. This part right here, 33¼ inches. You'd prefer a tackle, and everybody uses the measure of 34 inches or longer. Jonah Williams was 33, and I believe 5/8, and he was considered to have short arms. His are actually smaller. The point is, though, the guy can run. He's a good athlete. He reaffirmed for a lot of people the athleticism, the strength, the power. He's still a young guy, too. That's the other thing. I mean, he still is a baby in a lot of degrees. So you are drafting, I think, a little bit as much for upside, but this doesn't bother me. Here's the thing. Can you block? Have I seen him block? Does he have enough athleticism to get out on some things? I think he does. I'm still of that ilk. I still ain't taking that guy at 5. If I'm trading down somewhere and he's still on the board at 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, then I'd probably take him. But no, I don't think for me, and that has nothing to do with this. That part's silly season.
331 pounds and moving at a 5.09.40. I think I got a 5.09 at my best back when I was 18. Clearly not the athlete that Penei Sewell is at. I'm not going to say how much more he is than I am, but another one of the offensive tackles. This is interesting to me where these numbers get kind of silly, like you said, because Sewell, by and clear the number one. Rachean Slater from Northwestern, if you look at his numbers, faster, better jumping, put up more bench press reps.
Do you not see the 33-inch arms? I mean, honestly, though.
A quarter of an inch. Yeah. It's a huge difference.
Right. He had a good pro day, too, by all accounts, and some of it, I think, is this. I mean, that's borderline some H-back, fullback numbers, really. So it shows you his athleticism, too. And I think probably he and Sewell are 1-2. Again, I've said it, I've written it. I just don't take a lineman at 5. I don't want a college lineman there. I want somebody I feel more confident can be a difference maker. And it's not because of this. I just don't know. I mean, people talk about his tape with Chase Young a couple of years ago where he stoned Chase Young. I think is one where you go, okay, I just need to see, can this guy move? Can this guy do some things? I think he did all those things for you. That at least puts him in the conversation with Sewell for the top lineman in the draft.
If it's not Sewell and they do even trade down, do you think there's a chance late first or even early second that they'd be able to get Slater?
No, I think it would be if they get down in that 10, 11, 12 range and Sewell's off the board and Kyle Pitts is off the board, which I don't think they're interested in Kyle Pitts, but depending on where it is, if he is, you may have to. And if all three wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Waddle, and Chase are off the board. If it's that case and you're here, then you probably go with this guy.
Draft silly season just beginning, but it's also fun season here.
Short arms.
Short arms, short hands. It's all on the table in the NFL draft.